Howdy. Thanks for joining me for another ep of Cappy Hour. I believe this will be ep 49, which is a pretty cool achievement. Yeah, it's been such a journey and cool to be, I guess, a little consistent with something, even on the days where you're less interested in that. Thought I'd start with something that I decided to do recently, which has been kind of revolutionary, pretty game changer, which is dating with the intention of surprise as opposed to having any sort of expectation. So instead of sort of going into it just creating a story of what it's going to look like, how the future's going to be, who the person is, because you can't really know who a person is off the bat. You have to have experiences together to really see that. I think having expectations of, for example, being like respected or being met with in the middle and things like that is like really important. But I mean, not having any expectations on what the person will sort of give to you. It's no expectations, just appreciation. That's been the mantra that I try and just remind myself of every time that I notice that I'm starting to, not be present, I guess. I like to just repeat that one because it is very helpful. No expectations, just appreciation. Or one more time. The cool thing about the dating with surprise thing is that people are like onions. Like, it takes quite a while for someone to show you kind of like their more soft sides, their more vulnerable sides, their strong sides, their focused sides. Like, there's so many sides to people that I feel like it's such a disservice to like rush things. And that's been like one of the most beautiful things over the past couple of years, is just fully letting go of control. And I think a lot of us have problems with control, probably stemming from childhood woes. But there comes a time where you sort of got to let go of control, because really in the end, control is just an illusion. So that's something I've been frothing out on, is just being like, controlling what I can, not controlling what I can't. And that's been super lit. Another thread from the dating with surprise that I've really been enjoying is taking my time to get to know people. Not even just in the romantic sense, but just in general, is that I feel people have so many bloody layers, and it's so easy to just jump to conclusion about who a person is. And I think that's why taking your time and just being really curious about the way people operate and asking good questions is just super fab. I thought I'd do a little update on how I've been going with balancing head and heart, because I feel like I used to be such a head-based person, and then I was like, I've been hearing people talk about how living from the heart is pretty decent. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to give that a crack. So for a while it was just like this practice of like coming back to the heart really mechanically, but just doing it, practicing, and then I feel like recently I realized that it hasn't been like as mechanical. It's been more of a just a first response, come back to love. So that's cool. I feel like I've gone from being super in my head to super in my heart, and now my thing is just bringing the two together. So it's been such a fruitful fucking time. I cannot believe it. And I feel like this year, my major intention, super different to last year, but I feel like self-analysis was so big, probably in the last 10 years, just like analyzing my every move. I feel like moving forward this year, I'm keen to take a different route. But it'd be interesting to see where we go with it. I think this year the intention is much more grace, much more just like living it and enjoying it, as opposed to unpicking and unpacking this and that and nitpicking and always feeling not fully whole. This year it's just like, turns out I'm actually whole. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the mind and an experience I had recently that taught me something. So over the holidays, I had this day where I was just feeling so emotional and doubtful, and just like ego was just kicking off, and so many stories and so many tears and so much fear, and just being like, I don't know. I think we all have those sometimes where you're just like so just disconnected in a way. So in that state, I decided to do this exercise that is basically having a conversation with your process mind, which is, I call like the most rational kind of mind, and your monkey mind. So The monkey mind is the one that's just kicking off. But if you just sit with yourself, take 3 deep breaths, you can sort of decipher between the monkey and the rational. So basically, it's 2 columns. One column is I'm feeling this, and one column is I'm thinking this. So under the I'm feeling this, I would write like I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling just things like that. And then underneath the I'm thinking, it could be like I'm thinking that I have nothing to bring to the table. Yeah, so basically you just kind of list any thought that comes in that you're thinking about yourself, because like sometimes so many swirl around, so many swirl, and you kind of, there's some that just kind of go unnoticed. So I feel like that exercise of just being like, I'm feeling this, bang, bang, bang. And sometimes the you'll like mistake the thinking for the feeling. So it's good to kind of separate the two and be like, yep, feeling this, thinking this. And then afterwards, I like to just go through the I'm thinking this list and ask, is this known to be true? Because, yeah, again, a lot of the stuff is true, but a lot of it is just a story. So the process is really cool for just clearing the head, I believe. Sometimes there's days like that, I do believe, where you can't really meditate through it. You can't, you can breathe through it to a degree, but there's just, I don't know, they're those days where the surrender is needed most, but yeah, something takes over, I guess. I haven't quite worked it out, but I guess that's resistance. We all sort of resist. Why would we go towards uncomfortable feelings? It is probably not the most natural course of events, but yeah, I'm trying to learn to go towards them. And I feel like the more I go towards them, the more they fast forward. But touch wood, sometimes they stay for a while, but that means they've got more to teach us. Something else I've been frothing out on is airing things out. I feel like we're all sort of very different people. A lot of people like to speak about things that they're going through. A lot of people want to write about it. A lot of people process like on their own behind closed doors. But something that I've really been vibing out on recently is talking about things, airing things out. Just, it takes away like any sort of shame or any sort of heaviness around things, I feel like, or at least a lot of it at least evaporates, I feel. There's something I hear in being witness that is super powerful. So instead of, processing a painful emotion or thought or speed bump in your life, processing it in your room as opposed to processing it in front of people in a circle with 10 people. It's said that, yeah, processing in a group is just said to be so powerful. And I see that because energetically, there's 11 people in the room, everyone's kind of focused, everyone's presence is there. It can only mean good things for energy. So yeah, that's another thing I've been vibing out on. And I have a friend that's just so incredible at just talking about things, airing them out, and then that means no shame. And that's just been inspiring me so much, because I feel like, yeah, shame's something that we all probably have to traverse in our lifetime, definitely. But it's one, yeah, it's a painful one, and definitely not one that I'm like, yeah, I don't like fucking froth out on shame, not many people do. I read somewhere, or maybe listened somewhere, a burden shared is a burden halved. And I thought that was pretty powerful, because it's like, I guess that's why people go into business together with a business partner. It's like you get to share the load of things, and that's the same in relationships. You get to hopefully, yeah, pick each other up and, vibe out together and just like sort of even each other out, I feel. Yeah, something I've really been enjoying is just picturing myself as 2-year-old or 3-year-old Cappy and just moving through life like I am her. Yeah, it's really quite fun and so good for the imagination. Gosh, it's very heartwarming. So I thought I'd do the second part of this episode as things I've really been loving lately. So number 1 is partying. I've been having so much fun partying over the last 2 months or so. Fully came out of hiding, surprised myself, didn't go into the holiday season like fired up or that keen to party. Haven't in years. Like, honestly, I can't even remember the last time I got on it. But yeah, this holiday period, incredible. So much fun. So many late nights. Just so many, all of the above. Just going for it. And gosh, that's just been so fun. And then alongside that, having grace after the partying and not drilling myself for partying. So I feel like it's this thing I'm talking about every 2 seconds, which is, both sides to the scale. So coming from being a full grandma to going full kind of party mode, I'm back on that thing where I need to, meet in the middle. I guess it's something that we all kind of have to play with as we move through life. We're not always in perfect balance. And so that's been really fun. Something else I've been enjoying so much is laughing. Oh, I'm hanging out with such funny crew, and it's just, I always said, fuck, I want to be around funny people, and sense of humor is so important to me. It's like top, very top of the ladder. So hanging out with people who have like immaculate sense of humor, and they just like, their delivery is amazing. That's been really cool. Just like getting lost in laughing fits. It just warms my heart so much. I've been really enjoying challenging myself and moving towards the thing I fear the most. So it's a funny notion to think like go towards the thing you fear, but I feel like if I think about the things I feared the most in the past, was for example, for some reason being seen. I feared it so much I decided to put myself out there. Now I feel less inclined to want to be seen, but I feel like there's just phases in your life where you need certain things. You need, I guess, in a way, that validation to then be like, sweet, I don't need that anymore. Now I'm just creating and just kind of being. So yeah, I've still got an ego, definitely. Still need validation, definitely. I am a human, but yeah, it's cool just like not needing certain things. Something I've really been loving is magnesium. I think we should all be supplementing magnesium. It's so good for just relaxing muscles. Smack the magnesium like it's going out of style. And I just guarantee that it'll help. It'll help. Magnesium will help everyone. Another thing been loving is just swimming at any time possible, any body of water, ocean, just using it as a cleanse. And also showers, just like as many showers as possible per day. Thank you. Another thing been loving is waking the body up with either like stretch or just, shaking things out, or, just sort of like little tapping exercises, but just like, hitting your body and just tapping your body and just turning it on. It can sound like a kind of a weird notion, but our bodies kind of thrive off getting the energy moving. So yeah, it's a good feeling. I highly recommend a little shakeout. Another thing I fuck with hard is brushing teeth as many fucking times a day as you can think, because oral hygiene is just so underrated. And I feel like, the more you brush, the more good vibes come your way. Another thing I've been loving is making more time for loved ones and making sure I'm calling them quite regularly as well, and just being intentional with that. I feel like, over the Christmas period, we spend a lot of time with our families, and a lot of things get brought to the surface, and there's things that happen, and lots of stuff is close to home, and Suzanne's getting triggered. Now I'm fucking triggered. And yeah, it can be hard yakka, and it's just always a big lesson in just patience and presence and equanimity, if you will. So something I've been loving is just like sort of moving through any sort of resentment or resistance towards family, and just sort of shaking it off and going back in with more of a curious energy. And yeah, it's been really fruitful. And as a friend recently taught me, is to treat your parents like they're your mates. We love that, making time for the loved ones. Another one that's so good, always yapping on about this, breathing, but making it fun. So I like the idea of challenging myself to just remember to breathe as soon as I can. Remember to breathe, even if it's just one. like just remembering to take it as soon as possible. And another cool one is just sussing where your tongue sits. So if it's smashing the roof of your mouth, it means that you're in a bit of a stress response. So that's something that I like to do to just bring myself back. Deep breaths and just sussing where the tongue is. Because if it's chilling low, it's good, but if it's smashing the roof, so yeah, the more you practice that, the more it becomes like this common thing that you just catch yourself doing a couple of times a day, which is just really beneficial. And another thing that I love is hanging out with your crush and his friends. I think you can just gain so much from that if you're seeing someone, like slowly integrating them into your circle, I feel like is beneficial. So it's not this like separate thing where, yeah, it's not a vibe. I think it's so cool to do time one-on-one, time with mates. Biggest win ever. I think I'm going to wrap it up on that. That's kind of basically where I'm at. Have had, yeah, again, the best holiday period ever. Just getting the cogs turning this week on just what life's going to look like this year with the potty and work and just focuses and things like that. But yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a fruity year, and I can't wait to bring some more crew on to chat cool shit. Giddy up.